So hey there guys, and welcome back to Genius Apple. And well, this is the end of the Artemis Fowl series. That's really bad. It's sad, but it's not the end of the world, nor is it the end of me. I'm gonna keep coming back, in different kind of books, and I'm gonna bring all of those books for you guys. Well, let's forget about the other books for now. Oh, why is that blinking? We're going to forget about the other books for now, and we'll just talk about the book today. Now, if you watched the previous videos, obviously you should have, because I reached really far into the Artemis Fowl series. And if you haven't seen the previous videos, it's really crazy that you're watching this one. So please go ahead and check those out. I'll be writing them in the description below like I did in my last video. And let's move on. So last time I did a part 1 of this book, that is Artemis Fowl and the Last Guardian, and you might want to check that out if you want the starting half part of this book. In the previous book I said that I'll give you much more descriptive material related to this book. So here's what is actually happening. Opal Koboi has 2 versions of herself in the present timeline, and all the fairies have now noticed that 2 goblins who are wearing face screens, so you can't see their face, and they have changed their names. So nor do you know their names. They are threatening to kill the younger Opal Koboi, and they are saying that if the younger Opal Koboi is killed, then there's going to be very big emphasis on the word big explosion. That's what they say. Now, Artemis and Foley have 2 theories. Now, Foley presents the first theory. The first theory is that the goblins will get rid of the younger version of Opal Koboi. Slowly, the present version of Opal Koboi will blink out of existence. Everyone will look confused for 2 or 3 seconds and continue with the daily activities as if nothing happened. There was no Opal Koboi. Nobody knew who was Opal Koboi. But there is a much more dark theory. It's really hard to say this, but the entire Haven underground land is in terrible danger. Now, Artemis presents the second theory because Foley just realized that the second theory has at least 90% possibility and chance to happen, so he quickly rushes away and tells Artemis to present the next theory. Artemis says that over 5 centuries ago, a fairy professor, Professor Baji, had presented a theory that was, oh, that's creepy. Okay, why did that happen? Is it because I said, dark theory or something like that? You know what, let's leave that. I'll continue telling you guys. So, Professor Baji has said that if a younger version of a being comes into the timeline of the older version of the being, this might be a little hard to understand, but try to follow along. So the younger version of a being from the past comes into the present timeline of the older version of a being, and if the younger version was to subsequently die through some means, the older version would release lots and lots of energy violently and spontaneously. This basically means that older version is going to produce a large combustion, large blast, and along with this, everything that specific being had influenced or had some effect on in the entire past years will all be erased. But the force that is ejected from the older being is going to be really big. It's going to be a nuclear blast. You can just say it's like a fission bomb. Exactly what's going to happen in that. So what actually happens is they are now in a tight spot because Opal Koboi has orchestrated this entire thing for them to leave her. If they do not leave her, then her goblins will shoot her younger self and she'll explode. She doesn't care about that. She'll explode, taking the entire underground land with her. That's what she wants. Now, that's creepy. Please Stop changing. Now Opal Koboi is finally released. But as I told in my previous video, she has used dark magic to awaken the berserkers, and Myles and Beckett Fowl are under the control of the berserkers because the berserkers have inhabited their bodies. Well, what can be done now? So Artemis, Butler, Holly are out on another mission to save the world from Opal Koboi. And this time it is actually to save the world, because the previous times Opal Koboi wanted to rule the fairies and the humans at the same time. Now she doesn't want to do that. She plans to expose the fairies to the humans, and finally the fairies will be left with no other option other than eradicate the humans. The humans will be wiped out, and since it will be Opal Koboi who gave that option, people will respect her as if she's a king or a queen. If you go back and see one of my previous videos, I've called her a king twice. She's a queen. Please make that clear. Okay. Now, Artemis Fowl, he has to use his large intellect, his amazing IQ, and his amazing head to do something to stop Opal Koboi. Now, in the previous video, I said that the book ended in a very, very sad way. It was heartbreaking. What actually happened was Artemis had a plan. And you know how Artemis's plan goes. He had such a decisive plan, such a smart plan that nobody saw that coming. In the previous books, Opal Koboi had escaped from a coma by making a clone of herself. The clone's name was Nopal. Just put an N in front of Opal. So Nopal. Now Artemis, he sedated Holly. Holly tried to sedate him to sacrifice herself by killing Opal. But in turn, Artemis had already given himself a shot of adrenaline. So her sedative was countered by the adrenaline, and her sedative didn't work. On the other hand, while she put the sedative into Artemis's arm, he put a patch right here and induced some sedative into her. So Holly was sedated, and he told her, he kissed her forehead and said, "Give that to Foley for me." So that was what he had planned. Holly's shot was out of action. So without telling Butler, Artemis went right to where Opal Koboi was. He dragged the body of Holly all the way to Opal Koboi and said, "We have come to surrender." He threw Holly's body right on top of the ground and said, "I'm here to surrender." Those were not his exact words, okay? So Opal was pretty satisfied. She quickly told Juliet, who was also possessed by a berserker, to hold Artemis and Holly and kept them back. Holly's face was covered, but she had a glimpse at Holly's face, and it was Holly as she checked. And she knew that Artemis would try something, so she triple checked Artemis's face and Holly's face. Now what happens is she starts gloating. One big mistake, okay? Now she said that, "How come you didn't come without a plan, Artemis Fowl? I am vexed by you." That was what she thought, and that was what she said. But that wasn't what Artemis had planned. Now she said that there were 2 hand imprints on a magical gate that would unlock lots of power to destroy the human beings. She knew that it was only her DNA who could control those specific hand marks. One hand mark on one button, whatever you want to say, when her hand would touch it, it would unleash the force to destroy the humans, and one would close the gate forever. Now, she spent her time gloating, laughing at Artemis Fowl. If you don't know what the word gloating means, gloating technically in my version of meanings means to make fun of somebody after you have conquered them. That's what she thought. She thought that she has conquered the great Artemis Fowl. That didn't happen. She was outsmarted again. Now, she said that she told Artemis that each of those imprints could only be controlled by her hands. And Artemis made fun of her and she got angry. So Artemis said, "Since it can only be controlled by your hands, you will be the one to stop it." She started laughing at him. Suddenly he jumped, grabbed Holly's hand and put it on top of that print which would close the gate forever. Then Opal had a good, nice look at Holly's face. It fell off. It wasn't Holly's face. It was Nopal. Nopal, Opal's clone. So basically a clone has entirely the same characteristics of a person, except for the fact that the clone cannot speak, and barely move. Some clones are amazing and some were just wasting away like Nopal. So Nopal's tiny hand hit on top of that imprint, and then Artemis's best tagline was, Artemis said that, "I think that you are vexed now." And Nopal's hand came on top of that button or handprint and locked the gate forever. Opal went into a rage. All the berserkers left the humans' bodies and flew off because the gate was closed forever, so they could never return to the world. They were happy being in the death world, or whatever you want to say, heaven, hell, whatever, because they were soldiers. So soldiers should actually go to heaven, so we'll say heaven. Now Opal went crazy and her black magic overpowered her, ate up her face, and she died screaming. Artemis Fowl, he tried running away, but Holly tried to save him. Butler tried to save him. Artemis told Butler to stay there. He had a plan. Butler usually listened to Artemis Fowl, and he thought that since Artemis was a child genius, he probably would have a plan. He just gave Butler one last smile, and in the combustion of the gate, the locking of the gate, which released lots of power, Artemis Fowl II, heir to the Artemis Empire, the Fowl estate, died in the combustion. Now that was really, really sad. I felt really bad. That is creepy. That's really creepy. It's happening again. I felt really bad when Artemis Fowl died. It was really, when you write such influential books like Owen Colfer, it really, reaches your mindset, makes you feel really sad when a person dies. Years later, when fairies and humans have been exposed to each other, fairy sightings are here and there, and fairies are trying to hide desperately. Holly remembers Artemis's last words to her, and she kisses Foley. Foley asked Holly that, "Did he actually tell you to kiss me?" Foley was told that his last words were, "Give that to Foley for me." Then Foley fell down. Realization sprang up on his face. He knew what Artemis had planned all along. Using the place where Artemis had kissed Holly on the head, and this is getting really confusing even for me, and where Artemis had kissed Holly on her forehead, he siphoned off the DNA in his saliva, in Artemis's saliva, siphoned off some DNA and created a clone. When that cloning worked, the clone came out. Then the book ends with Holly saying this. I'll read the exact words out to you just in case. So really, because they were pretty scared whether it would work or not. So Artemis, he came out of that, and his heartbeat slowly came, slowly, very slowly. Holly says that Holly was really, really happy. This I'm saying, it's not really written here. So Artemis had small memories, and you know which were the words he said? He said, "Stay back. You don't know what you are dealing with." Holly took his hand. "We do know you, Artemis, and you know us. Try to remember." He says, You are my friends?" She says, "Yes, we are your friends. Now we need to get you inside before the locals arrive and see the recently deceased heir being escorted by fairies." No, that's not going to happen actually. So the book ends in which Artemis Fowl asks, "Tell me, how do I know you?" So Holly began her story. It all started in Ho Chi Minh City one summer. It was sweltering by anyone's standards. Needless to say, Artemis Fowl would not have been willing to put up with such discomfort if something extremely important had not been at stake. Important to the plan. The book ended. So Artemis has no memory, and Holly is telling him about all her adventures with him. So guys, that's the end of the Artemis Fowl series. Really happy how the series went. Thank you for all the support. please share this series if you really want everyone to read it. And of course, don't just watch my videos, read the book yourself. Like and subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you feel that my video was not sufficient, was not a good book review, you can feel free to change your like into a dislike. But for now, please give this video a like. So I'm gonna see you guys next time.